Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this, and welcome to the Down the Lane podcast with our two new presenters today, Jacob and Cam. Welcome, guys.
Thank you, Barry.
Okay.
So, just a quick one for you. Bob is exploring other options at the moment. He's got something on the agenda, and obviously, it'll probably make him unavailable for a lot of the podcasts, which is why we drafted in Jacob and Cam. Also, to give a few more views, right? Because, me and Miles sit here, chew the fat a lot, and Bob, and it was time we thought for a little bit of a freshen up, a little bit of different views from different people. And that's something that we're going to be exploring a bit more this season as well. The thought of actually trying to get one of you fans to come on once a month or something like that, or maybe even once a fortnight, and join us and give us your views because, it's not just about us, it's about all of us at the club. We're independent of the club, but as supporters of the club, everybody's got different views, right? And everybody looks at things in a different way. So, we'd like to look at getting you on. So if that's something you're interested in, speak to any one of us and let us know. So we will start with a little bit of an introduction. Jacob, you've been watching Eastbourne now for a few years. Tell us a bit about yourself and a bit about what you are going to bring to the podcast.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Miles, for the opportunity. Yeah, I've been watching Eastbourne since 2012. I'd say the 2012-13 season. Went along with my dad for the first time down Priory Lane and been going ever since for these past 12 years. Some great moments, some painful moments, obviously, including the relegation last season, but it's all for the love. And obviously down there with you boys. And yeah, it's just family ties as well. So around that area is quite important to me as well because our family members live around there. So no, what I bring to the podcast, hopefully some balanced views, but probably might go off from time to time. But hopefully all PC, hopefully everyone can understand my opinion and point of view. And if you don't, then that's just the way of life, isn't it, really?
Exactly that. We're all individuals, right? We all have a different view, a different stance on different things. So, and that's what makes the world go round. It'd be boring if we all thought the same, wouldn't it? So, Cam, yourself, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Privileged to be here. So I started my first Borough game, I should say. Just a 3-2 home win against St Albans. Last minute winner from Christian Oxlade-Chamberlain. First name confusing with his brother. But yeah, and ever since then, just fell in love with it, really. I would say I started supporting properly early Danny Bloor days, just before sort of COVID. Round there. Just try and get as many games as possible. Really enjoy it. Great community, and I'm really excited for this season because we've never been in the Eastbourne League. Never got relegated from the South, and I'm looking forward to reconcile that rivalry with Lewis and Whitehawk and all that.
Yeah, and I was about when we had them rivalries before, so I can tell you they are big rivalries, and it'd be good to. Look, last season's all done now. The relegation, I'm over it, and I'm kind of looking forward in a way to this season, and to smashing Lewis, Whitehawk, Burgess Hill, and then although I think Burgess Hill is going to be a difficult one, I think they're putting quite a squad together themselves up there at the moment. So, there you go. Right, so let's start with the most topical thing at the moment, the World Cup, because I want to vent some anger, but I'm going to let you guys go first. Obviously, semi-final on Wednesday against Argentina. Over to you guys. I can let you go first.
Where do you start? Where do you start? Crap. If that's being nice, that's the way to put about it. Especially after our first goal, Anthony Gordon, brilliant ball in from Morgan Rogers, and that's what Anthony Gordon does. What he does for Newcastle for the past few years, be there at the back post. It's like a kind of like a prime Sterling when you think with those sort of runs, really. But just after the goal, just absolutely pathetic. Just 12% possession after the goal, and we just we're camping. It's like a scout camp. We're just like, everybody back. No, we're just gonna be resolute and wonder why we lost. And give the best player of all time on the ball. You know what's going to happen. There you go.
And that is exactly my point. We go 1-0 up against a team that there is rivalry from years ago, and there always will be. It was all about, or it all seemed to be this year in the World Cup about getting rid of the things that have haunted us for years, the hand of God, the Azteca.
Yeah.
I had a friend out there. I think I said on the last cast, but I had a friend who's been out there. He literally flew back today. I was meant to be picking him up, but my back and not being able to drive has caused an issue with that. But there you go. So he came back today and he said, he's a Brighton fan and he's followed England, everywhere. And he said that he has never, ever been to a ground before where the home advantage was as much as the Azteca. He said, if you think you've been to a loud football stadium, go there, because it was just unreal. And it all seemed to be panning out, didn't it? Obviously Spain had beaten France, and we owed Spain one from the Euros, and Argentina and everything else. And I thought we were playing all right. I don't think we were miles better than Argentina. But I think we looked solid. I think we looked good. And like you say, when Gordon pops in and puts you 1-0 up, you think, right, okay, now they've got to score 2 to beat us, and we allowed them to. And I don't say they, they played well enough to score 2. We literally allowed them to. Years ago, I used to run a junior side from, the age of under 10 right through to under 12s. And then I helped out with a couple of others. And, we used to end our training sessions with either a match or an attack v defence. I'd put all my defenders in and I'd say to the attackers, right, keep firing balls in, corners in, free kicks in, and it was about them trying to score against my defenders, because that way both teams, both sides of my team, the defence were getting the defensive work and the attackers were getting the attackers. And we did that against Argentina in a World Cup semi-final. And not only did we do that against Argentina in a World Cup semi-final, we did it with arguably the greatest player of all time firing the balls into our box.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I just thought, what are we doing? This is I done this 25, 30 years ago with kids. This is how I used to end a training session. And I just don't understand the mentality of it. And then when you see the stats coming out, that 12% possession, you think, Christ, what was it before that? And then, obviously the 12% stat has come out on various platforms and whatever else. It's an Opta stat. But there was a guy, I did save it and I can't find it, but there was a guy that had decided that he was going to watch the game from the goal. And of that 12% possession, he reckons that it was in Jordan Pickford's hands for 7.6% of that time. Now that means that our outfield players in 34 minutes or 36 minutes had 5.4% possession of the ball. I'm sorry, if you allow a team to do that, and you can ask any football manager in this world, if you allow a team to have that much possession against you, you are asking for them to score a goal. You are asking for them to score more than one goal. And the thing is, it wasn't even as if it wasn't changeable. And this is where I haven't heard many people say this about Tuchel, but there was a should Tuchel stay, should Tuchel go. Listen, Gareth Southgate built a very good England side. You know, he had a very good England side. We got deep into tournaments, you know, semi-finals, finals, whatever else. But he couldn't get over the line. And Tuchel was brought in and paid a lot of money to be that man that could get us over the line. What he's done there is a critical error, and an error that no football manager should make, but especially not one that's renowned to be maybe one of the best managers in the world. And how many times did we hear that England have got the best manager at the World Cup, you know, in Thomas Tuchel?
Yeah.
And so for me, you know, and the dangers were there, right? You know, Argentina's hit the post a couple of times. They've Jordan Pickford's made a couple of worldies. You know, it wasn't as if they scored with their first 2 attacks and we said, what are we going to do about this now? The warnings were there. You know, no, as a football manager, change it. And as soon as they went 1-1, we were done, because we'd used all our substitutes to put on defensive players. And if you want to put on a substitute, you know, if you want to put on, you could, any of them defensive players that you want to put on, whether it be, well, any of them, just name any of them, or any that are on the pitch. You're 1-0 up against Argentina. They have arguably got the greatest of all time, and for me, he is the greatest of all time. You know, there'll always be the Messi v Ronaldo debate. Messi wins it hands down for me. Put a man on him.
Yeah.
And if I'm a football manager, I put somebody else, whether that be a player that's already on the pitch, that's up to the speed of the game, or whether it be somebody I'm putting on. But I would probably use someone who's on the pitch, because they're already, you know, they're involved in the game, they're up to the speed of the game. And literally I say to him, right, you stand with him. If he goes to the left, you go to the left. If he goes to the right, you go to the right. If he goes to the toilet, go and wipe his arse for him, right? Because you just stick with him everywhere he goes. You and I know they've got other dangerous players, but you are taking away the threat of Messi. And any single team, Spain are looking at that game tonight, the final tonight, and they're thinking, how do we control Argentina? How do we keep Messi under control? And so, yeah, there's my rant. I just think that Tuchel made an absolute shocking decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I think,
and that's the biggest thing for me, is that at the end of the game, he could have quite easily come out in that interview and gone, do you know what, guys? That ain't going to happen again.
I think the frustrating thing about that game was, all right, in the first half, you expect it to be quite cagey. And I thought, honestly, going into second half, we were the better team in the first half. We get that early goal, and about 5 minutes from the goal, obviously you mentioned 12% possession, we chuck on defenders, you're changing the dynamic of the game. You're asking for Messi and Alvarez, you know, get in behind, put balls into the box. You're just asking for it. And it's, as I said, a critical error. I don't understand what's gone through Tuchel's brain and said, right, you know, Argentina, one of the best teams in the world. They've won the last World Cup. They're going to have spirit. They're going to get about the pitch. They're going to bully her. And I thought we were on top of them marginally, but on top of them when we scored and before we scored. You've got to go and get the second goal. We had players on the break, Rodgers, Bellingham running in behind, getting that ball into the box for the cutback, or you know, Harry Kane played really deep, which I thought it worked. But where's the break when you're throwing on defenders, and then we chuck another defender on 10 minutes from the end, Dan Burn, and there's no, what were we doing, playing for penalties? I don't understand how we thought we could get away with not conceding, going you know, five at the back so early on against a team like Argentina, you know, going to give 110% the other end, and with a player like Messi, he's just going to open that game up and put balls into the box. It's just, it's football suicide, really.
100%. And you've only got to look at what they've done in their previous games. You know, I mean, they're 2-0 down against Egypt with 10 minutes to go, and they come back and win 3-2, right? And I'd gone into the game, and someone said to me, "Oh, you know what the RGs are like? They're going to fight right till that last minute." And I said, "Yeah, but if we go 2-0 up, there's no way they come back against us." And then when we score the first goal, it's like, come on, let's get another one because, if that happens. And then, yeah, just what I was watching, and I honestly thought I was dreaming. I thought I was dreaming, with watching what I was. But and I honestly, obviously I'm a bit older than you guys, so I've seen it. I've seen the competitions, and I've seen the squads where we've had some very good, England squads. You go back to the Lineker days, you go look at the Shearer days, and we've had some really good England squads over the time, and Euro '96, a home advantage of it, and I just thought, look, this is massive coming into home Euros next time. We've I just thought, this is our time, and I honestly believed that we could do it. And then, like you say, we're playing 10 men behind the ball, and the biggest thing is, I'm a West Ham fan, right? Sam Allardyce used to love locking up. I heard him on Talk Sport, and he was fuming. He was like, "What is he doing?" And this is a manager that plays that style of football. I'll never forget one of the Sam Allardyce interviews where Mourinho was having a pop at him. We drew 0-0 against Chelsea, and he played 10 men behind the ball, and he was laughing at the camera, saying, "I outdone him. I outdone the special one. I've outdone him," and that was his style of football. And even he was having a pop. And yeah, I mean, well.
Well, I think he's still a bit better about not managing for England, isn't he? So it's a bit, you can't really take his opinion, can you?
100% ratio, though. 100% ratio, Sam Allardyce. Please don't knock Sam Allardyce.
Played 1-1-1. Got a nice few quid from the FA and got a nice few quid out.
Clean sheet as well.
So I mean, he done all right, didn't he?
Just on Tuchel, though. The thing with Tuchel for me, and I was sort of pro Tuchel in a sense of he's an elite manager coming into the tournament, and Southgate built the foundations, and he was meant to come in to deliver. And I'm not too critical in the fact that he didn't actually bring it home in the sense of, like, Baz, you were saying earlier about how he's brought in to do a job and he's failed, which obviously is correct. However, there's another 7 countries also trying to do that exact same thing. So especially I'm not going to go through the game again because you boys have summed it up really well. But it's just the way he went out and the mentality of it. I mean, he had the now infamous interview with Gabriel Clark, saying about this pure mentality, you can bottle it up, sell it, all this sort of thing. And there's no doubt that the mentality of that squad has absolutely crumbled as soon as we start getting pressure on, and that wasn't helped by the substitutions. Like, we just needed a few like-for-like changes to freshen it up, and then I think we were pretty much good to go to keep throwing punches at them. Because as soon as you take the risk off of, I think Andy Smith said it on his when he came on, as soon as you take the risk off of going the other way, it just invites pressure after pressure after pressure, and it just becomes an inevitability you're going to concede. So that was the most disappointing thing, and ironically, in the interviews before the tournament, or when he got hired, he was saying about how previously England would get to this stage and then we would be too fearful of going out of the tournament and not succeeding and having the guts to go and win it. And when that's exactly what happened. So for me, he's completely lost my trust and I want him gone personally. I don't say that lightly with managers. I just don't feel how he, short of just delivering next time round, which obviously he's going to get the home Euros now. He's completely lost my trust, and I don't know how someone could manage to do that in half an hour of one game, but he's somehow managed to do it, and it's just absolutely baffled him. And also, I feel like there's something in the fact that he's not from the nation as well. Like, I'm not saying this in like a xenophobic way at all, and I'm all for as many countries as possible get involved in football, managing whatever. But for an international competition, I don't see how the manager cannot be from that country personally. I just feel like there's something in that united sense of togetherness and, doing it for the country, I guess, that Tuchel could never give to us in the same way that Southgate did and united that nation, united us. And also, no other countries won the World Cup with a foreign manager. So I don't see how. I know obviously there's first time for everything and all that sort of thing, but we haven't won it for what 60 years, and doing something different everybody else has ever done. Yeah, it's rogue, and with international management as well. At the same time, like how many people can name World Cup winning managers unless you're like a football, fanatic and you know everything about all the wins. Like personally, for me, World Cup winning managers, I know of Scaloni now just because of the fact that he's been talked about quite a lot recently. Joachim Low and Sir Alf Ramsey. I genuinely can't name any other World Cup winning manager. Didier Deschamps, that's another one. But you know what I mean? It's not like the obvious big names. Like it's like when Ancelotti came and went to Brazil. I don't know. It just didn't feel right to me. It just didn't feel right. Like club management's a different kettle of fish to international management, and I don't know what the secret is, and I don't know what the key is because at the end of the day, I'm an amateur in terms of football knowledge compared to these people that make the choices. But that's
speaking
my
of
piece of Tuchel.
Speaking of changes, Miles, sorry to interrupt you there, but I said to you on what was it, Wednesday night. I also think we need. I think we need a fresh new captainship as well. I just think he's had his. I think Harry Kane. He's been a brilliant servant for England, but I just think maybe with it's not just the leadership from a manager, but also the leadership from your captain as well. I just think personally we need a new captain. Perhaps still keep him around the squad, like like a Jordan Henderson type character. But I just maybe with new, fresh leadership from the captaincy on the pitch, perhaps that could also be an advantage and potentially take us over the line at some point. But obviously there is no guarantee.
I don't agree or disagree because I feel like you can't really judge a captaincy well when you're not in the building. Like I don't know. I think it's impossible for us to say that. Personally, I think Harry Kane is more of a reserved character. Like Jude Bellingham's quite an extroverted character. Wears his heart on his sleeve. Kane's much more modest, humble, potentially, much more introverted in that sense. And I feel like it's hard to say when you're not in the squad, not in the building, as to who should be the best leader. I don't know. I feel like that's. He's definitely not a bad captain because he leads by example.
No.
Sets a standard very well for the country. Like if everybody played like Harry Kane in the sense that like they give everything the shirt, the tireless commitment they put in, and just being a sort of presence in a flagship person for the country. I feel like Kane delivers that very very well. And that's not say that someone like Bellingham can't do that.
I think Jude needs a few more years before that. He's still relatively young.
Yeah, it's a big statement to strip the captaincy of a player that's your record all-time goal scorer and led the country so well in these major tournaments for the last 5 years. I think that's harsh, personally.
You wouldn't like that with cricket, then? They did that with Joe Root.
Yeah, I have no idea, but yeah, I would think that's harsh. Poor Joe Root. I don't even know who the bloke is, but
all-time run scorer, and then gets stripped of the captaincy after one bad Ashes. Well, there you go.
Yeah. But anyway, we had obviously the delight of smashing France, didn't we, as well? Yesterday, not that anyone really cares, but what a game! What a game! I went to bed at half time, at 11:15. Saw it was 4-0. I was like, job done, easy pickings. Wake up next morning today, watched the highlights, and then I just couldn't believe what I was seeing when it was like 4-1, 4-2, 4-3. I was like, oh no, it's just this just sort of sums it up, and it's just like the control in games. Like just trying jumping back to the Argentina game, we just don't seem to control anything. Or never be, in a position where we can dominate the game. And I know there's going to be ebbs and flows, and you can't, dominate 90 minutes of football. But you look at like Spain against France. I know France have now shown themselves to be a bit more, average than everyone thought they were going to be. But Spain didn't give them a sniff. Didn't give them a sniff. Controlled all aspects of that game. Yeah, outstanding. And I think they'll probably win tonight, but. As everyone said before, you never know you're going to get out of Messi. You could just produce a hat trick and no one be surprised. But yeah, that just comes back to our control aspect. And like, I know it's difficult with international management. So you haven't got the regularity of the players to get that sort of style of play in. But it looks like so gun-ho football, which in tournaments you just can't really get away with. And that's why Southgate was so successful, because he wasn't a particularly great tactician, but he's made us solid, hard to beat. And you're always in a game when you're like only one. If it's 0-0, 1-0 down, etc., you're always in that game. We were just so open last night. It was crazy. I know it was a third, fourth place game, which maybe we shouldn't place too much emphasis on it, but it was a bit worrying in some ways. Obviously, excellent, we scored 6 goals, but France looked like they're on the beach a bit. I can't lie.
Yeah.
And I think last night pointless game of football. Going back to Tuesday night when Spain beat France. Now, that is where I think you have two sides of the coin. I think that the Spanish, the way they played that game against France, the way they approached that game against France, great management. So you're looking at great management in the first semi-final against a very poor management decision in the second. I'm with you, Miles. I think Tuchel, I don't think he can get over this. I mean, I think when you've got England fans booing him last night,
Yeah.
that is saying how the people are feeling, especially the people that have spent their hard earned to go out there. I know what it's cost my mate to be out there for a month, and it's a lot of money. And when they're spending that sort of money to be out there, they're sensible people, you would think. And for them to be booing Tuchel last night, I think that speaks for a lot. But obviously,
I think a lot of that bad. Sorry, mate. Just to jump on that point. I think he just wasn't accountable as well. Like, I think if he just came out and was like, because we were all waiting for the interview around Jacob's house, we went around his to watch it. If he just came out and was like, it's clear my decisions were wrong and I've let the players down and whatever. I know it's quite hard to have that reaction potentially after not watching it back, but he just strikes me as he's got a bit of an ego in him. I think people are you either love that or you hate that. And it obviously it works brilliantly for you when it does work, but I think when there's situations when he just doesn't help himself with what he says and he gets himself into trouble in the hot water, and then England's quite a fickle country with that sort of thing, and people have obviously jumped on that. And that's probably why people were booing, because of not only the performance but the lack of accountability and humility in defeat, I think, as well.
100%. But I think when you look back at it, when you're in that very pressured environment. I mean, you said there's loads of things I want to pick up on what you guys have said, but you said about Harry Kane and not knowing what he brings to the party, and like inside the dressing room, and you need to be inside that camp to find that out. There were players that went to the World Cup that were questioned when Tuchel named his squad. Jordan Henderson was never going to play a big part in this World Cup, and obviously he didn't. But as soon as he got injured in Mexico, they wanted to get him back because of the part he plays in the dressing room, and he's a big character in that dressing room. And I think, listen, that's a gamble. That is a gamble to take somebody that isn't going to play many minutes on the pitch for you, but may be what you need in the dressing room to get the boys going, to get them. So, I agree with you with the Harry Kane thing. I do think that England will probably have a new captain. Maybe not for the Euros, and I mean I've said it before. I think Declan Rice is probably the name that he's. I think he's just such a great football player. He scans the game. He knows what's going on. He's very, he's very humble. He's not one of these footballers, that gets led by the press. He'll stand up to the press. He'll stand up to the public. Look at when everyone was having a go about his girlfriend, saying she wasn't the prettiest in the world, and they said, when are you going to get yourself a new girlfriend? He said, why do I want a new girlfriend? I've got the best looking woman in the world, and that is the answer you need to give. But when you go back to the Tuchel side of it, there was a massive lesson to be learned that he didn't learn, and that was through the Gabriel Clark interview. Because whatever you like, whatever you say, Gabriel Clark and Jim Rosenthal can come out as an old guy that's been doing this for years saying what a bit of journalism that was. No, it wasn't. That was there to get a headline. That was he didn't say to Jude Bellingham, oh, your manager said this, and this, but you were quite lucky in the end. He's just turned around and told him, your manager says you're lucky. Now, I don't care what anyone says. If I've just put everything I've got into something, and I'm celebrating a win, and I'm celebrating reaching the semi-final of the World Cup, I'm on a massive high, right? I'm, and all them England players were. All them England players were at the top of their tree. They couldn't be any higher. They've just reached a World Cup semi-final, and in a competition that they believe they can win. And then a journalist turns around and tells you you're lucky. Well, of course you're going to have a pop it in. Of course you're going to have a pop it in. You know, so yeah, that for me was sensationalism. It was very Piers Morgan, and I don't care. You know, I listened to. Last month I've been listening to Talksport, and I thought it was great because you got Jim White trying to back him up, and Simon Jordan. I love White and Jordan. I think you know, but you've got Simon Jordan saying, "No, you're a journalist defending a journalist. Of course you're going to defend a journalist. Of course you're going to defend him. It's what you do. He's in your tree. But at the end of the day, a journalist's job is to look for the sensational headlines. You know, the best headline will sell the most papers. So that's what they do. And you know, Gabriel Clark's done his job. But at the end of the day, I do feel that the press in this country, and we can go back, you know, you can go back over the last 20 years, different things, whatever else. The press in this country are far too powerful. They push their agenda against, you know, what can influence, you know, even if it's club management, even if it's, you know, not even football related, you know, they will push their agenda, which will cause uncertainty. Go back to the whole Brexit thing. You know, you've got two different streams of newspapers, the right or the left, feeding you an absolute load of rubbish to try and confuse people. And that isn't right, you know, but that's their job. Listen, so, you know, that's their job. But yeah, so...
Sorry, Baz. What did you think of the Ornstein tweet the other day? Apparently Pep agreed to join England, but there's something in the last minute that they decided against, or is it on the Guardiola side? I found that really confusing right after a semi-final.
Yeah, again, it's for me. That's just a journalist trying to grab a headline. You know, when we do a podcast, you know, if there's something that someone says that is, you know, that one line that can make a sensational. We were only talking earlier about, you know, how we present this podcast, how we get people on, you know, like shorts to try and get people to interact with the podcast and watch the podcast, and we will look for that sensational line, but we'll look for the confusing line. You know, I could sit here and say, I don't know, I could be talking about. I could be talking about Steve King, and I could say something about, oh, you know, I think he got a little bit wrong there, but overall, he's produced a squad that's capable of winning. Now, if we just use that, he got it wrong there. That is, you know, that's the hook that gets people to watch. And I think that's the problem with the whole Gabriel Clark thing. For me, if I was to, and I always thought like you, Miles, an English manager or an English team should be run by an English manager.
Yeah, I don't really want Pep personally, controversially.
I would absolutely do anything to get Pep.
Don't know, mate. I don't think it's easy as that personally.
I would do. There's two managers out there that I think, if we have them in control, if we have them in position for the Euros in 2028, we win the Euros.
Was one of them Jurgen Klopp?
Pep and Jurgen Klopp. I think our style of football in this country very much suits Jurgen Klopp. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, one of our songs, Vindaloo, we're going to score one more than you. That's Pep all over. You know, we might concede 2, but we'll score 3 and we'll win the game of football. And I think with either of them two managers, we would stand a chance. Unfortunately, I do get what you're saying as well, Miles. But I look around and I think, who? And that's
the question, isn't it? No one thought that about Southgate though when he came in. No one was like, "Oh, we should definitely go against Southgate." The international management's just different. I can't describe how it is, but like, I just don't feel like a big name would work personally.
Go back on my Facebook, because I'm pretty sure somewhere you'll find somewhere saying he ain't right for the job, because I think the one thing you have to have, the one thing you have to be, and I just said it a minute ago with who I think should be the next captain in Declan Rice, is you've got to be strong. You've got to have your own opinion, and you can't be a yes man. I don't think that Declan Rice is, and I certainly don't think that Pep and Jurgen are. Gareth Southgate, for me, was a bit of a yes man. He was someone that filled, you look at who's up there, English, in the betting. And unfortunately, an English manager that is very outspoken, an English manager that is very set in his ways, an English manager that is very focused, will never get the job. And we can go back through names. We can go back through Brian Clough. We can go back through Harry Redknapp. The names like this, managers that were a little bit flamboyant, but done the job, and they were English, and they were proud to be English, and they've never managed our national team. And I think that's an FA thing. I think it's and that's it for me. So I think the biggest thing, I do agree, I'd love to have an English man, managing the English national team. But the problem is, you have to have someone of the right quality, and I don't know who that is.
Potentially Eddie Howe.
I'm a bit indifferent about Eddie Howe, if I'm honest.
I personally think he's class. I'm a bit of an Eddie Howe fan, but that could be. I've got a bit of a soft spot for Bournemouth, so that could be why. But
speaking about holding on to leads, they're the team that dropped the points the most from winning positions. So you're looking at the World Cup and you're going.
But again, I think international management is just different. I don't know who it's going to be, but I just don't think any of them are right. Like people were saying about Lampard as well. I don't think that's right.
No. Do you think Tuchel would walk? Do you think Tuchel?
No.
He'll take the home Euros. He'll take the home Euros, and also rightly so. Like you shouldn't have to. It's the manner we've gone out. Like if we went out punch for punch with Argentina, or went out in penalties, something like that. You know what I mean? I feel like everyone's got a completely different opinion. We're just not having this conversation, and we're saying, he got us to the semi-final. We showed grit in games like Mexico, etc. He's tactically excellent there. He definitely deserves to have the home Euros. So then it is just one result, and he could just win us all back in the Euros. And we'll get to 2028, and we'll win our group, and we'll get through the first couple of games. They'll be like, oh, it's coming over again, and then we'll probably play one of the big Six Nations, and they get knocked out, and that's always the case. And it, sadly, I think doesn't look like changing.
I think when going to the next Euros, obviously the expectation is to win it, because we. In the last, couple of Euros, 2 or 3, I think, got to the final, we lost. You got to go and win it.
That's a different issue, though, isn't it? It's a different weight to have to go into for the players to go in to win it, because you look at 2018. 2018 was in some respects our best tournament in the sense that everyone thought we would if we go out to Colombia on penalties in that round of 16 game, everyone was like, oh, it's the same old. England lose on penalties to a weaker nation. Mm-hmm. Nothing's changed. But to get to the euphoria of being 1-0 up in the semi-finals is unbelievable. But there was different sort of weight for those players, like the young players. They sort of play with the shackles off a bit because by getting past the quarters, they'd already exceeded their expectations. Now, we're going into the Euros now with expectation to win, which I think for some of the players, like Bellingham, clearly thrives on that because he's world class. You could argue Harry Kane does to some extent, albeit he does go a bit missing in big games. But players like Declan Rice, could have a couple of more Premier Leagues on their belt at that point if Saka's fully fit. Which I think Saka being fully fit was seen by last night was a massive part of why we didn't get across the line in this tournament.
Definitely.
Saka fully fit for England, fully firing is absolute quality. He's easily one of our best three players. 100%.
And he can hold up the ball as well.
Yep, win those fouls, bring other people into play. It's so sad with Saka because even this season for Arsenal, he's been relatively poor by his standards, despite winning the Premier League.
I still would have taken Bowen.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, my Wakey was terrible, wasn't he? I mean, to Tuchel credit, I think he got a fair amount right with the squad selection against the grain. Not many people were taking Dan Burn. Dan Burn was, even though he shouldn't have come on Wednesday, but he was good when he came against Norway, and then great when he came against Mexico. Jed Spence, what a revelation! I mean, he was absolutely brilliant all tournament. I've no idea.
He's been the best player. He was the best player in the last 3 games.
Yeah. It's crazy. He got that right. I'd even argue Jordan Henderson coming got that right. Players like, I don't know, who else he take that was controversial that was turned out to be good. I can't think off the top of my head now, but he got a few decisions very, very well. But yeah, that right wing spot was an absolute disaster when it really start to finish.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But you say that, and anyone who I mean, I know a lot of people listen to this, but anyone that watches screens would have seen me shaking my head there, Miles, when you said about we wouldn't have been having this discussion. We certainly would have been, especially because I would have been starting that discussion. For me, you look at the teams we've played out there. We had half a good game against Croatia, the second half when he kind of took the shackles off. I thought the next two group games were very, were nothing games, and then we've played. We've beaten Dr. Congo, we've beaten Mexico. All right, in the Azteca, but at the end of the day, I think you need to look at the fact of, Mexico have only been beaten twice in that Azteca, and it's very noisy and very loud and whatever else. But when you look at the rankings of where we are, we're a better side than Mexico. Mexico haven't really played anyone sort of massively decent at home. So we beat them, and then we beat Norway. And Norway was about, for me, keeping one man quiet, which we managed to do. And we probably managed to do that because a lot of our players have played around him this year. They played in the league. They know what he's about. He's very much a world footballer. So for me, we haven't really played anybody until we get to the final four. If you'd have asked, looking at the sides of the draw, if you'd have asked people before the tournament started, who do they fancy their semi-finals are going to be? I think a lot of people would have said France, Spain, and England, Argentina. So I think it was the four teams that were probably expected to get to that stage of the tournament that got there. And so for me, the whole thing with Tuchel was, as I've said before, he was brought in to get us over the line. He was brought in to give us that extra push. He's paid a lot of money. He's probably easily our highest paid England manager we've ever had. And for me, he has not done that job. Now, when you're in club football, we saw it last year at Eastbourne Borough. Turn around the managers because they weren't getting it right. It's a week in, week out thing. You're training with them players every week. You might be playing 2 games a week, and if you're not getting the results, it can turn very, very quickly. We've gone out to the World Cup. We've played 6 games of football against opposition that we should beat. In every one of them teams, we should beat.
However, though, Baz, on the opposition should be Dr. Congo or DR Congo. They did draw to Portugal, and then Norway knocked out Brazil. Like, I'm not saying the teams we played we should be beaten, but there are two sides to it as well.
There are, but Brazil weren't the Brazil. Brazil weren't.
Oh no, absolutely not. But they're still Brazil with world class players, and Norway got them out. Yeah, but it is always you come back to you get beat by the better team in the end, don't we? That always happens with England.
And that's the thing. But it wasn't just the fact of getting beat. If we get beat by
no, it's the manner. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said.
Definitely.
The manner, innit? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said.
It's a way to lose games, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the thing. When we're 1-0 up in a semi-final, 5 minutes after we've gone 1-0 up, the country should still be jumping around. The beer should still be being thrown around the pubs. The boys should still be singing. I was watching it in a club. There was probably 230 people in there, and it was silent. People were shouting, "What are you doing?" Straight away. Why are we doing this? And then you get to the point where you're in stoppage time, and go back and watch the last minute and a half, of stoppage time. We're passing the ball around at the back. What are we doing? We're 2-1 down. Get the thing forward. Lump it up there. But there we go. Anyway, we have spent.
Should we move on, boys?
As I say, can we just?
We spent 45 minutes. This is going to be the longest podcast.
On to some real
All sad
football.
now.
Up the borough.
Speak about. Let's speak about Aveley, the first game. How about that?
Yes. Yeah, good old Aveley. I love Aveley.
Our old friends.
I love Aveley away. I love it.
Yeah, it was good.
To be fair, we did. We last time we went there. It was class.
Yeah. 2-0 on it. Adigan
Yeah.
and George. What's that?
Yeah, from the spot. Yeah. From the
Don't
spot.
speak about the first visit there.
What
No.
fixture are you
No.
looking forward- I've got a few questions on the fixtures, so I'm going to ask you guys first, and then I will give my answer at the end. So, what fixture are you most looking forward to?
That's
Lewis
one.
away.
Well, it's one there, isn't it? It's really
Lewis.
Lewis.
No, it's away. Bank
Right.
holiday. What more could you want? Yeah.
Or
Yeah, it's
second
prime.
one, St Albans, I think.
Well, just for Chicken George, and that's it.
Yeah.
And we always win there. Is it away, you mean? We always win at Clarence Park as well,
Yeah.
to be fair. So, yeah, hope that continues.
No, I'm
1-0
looking
or
for.
3-2.
I'm looking forward to Aveley. Well, I am, and then Lewis will be up there as well. There's a lot of games I'm looking forward to this year. Actually, when you think about it.
Some new sides as well.
Yeah.
Lots to look
So
forward to.
I'm looking through the fixtures now, and I'm telling you that I am looking forward to Saturday, the 20th of March, Cray Wanderers at home.
That's niche.
Because
Yeah.
I am going.
Freddie Carr derby, is that why?
I am going to make a prediction now. That
Oh, we win the league by then. Oh,
no!
Oh!
Right, that is the day we win the league. And I've studied.
This is gonna be
and I
clipped.
thought,
Clip this one.
so
Bookmark it, boys.
clip this one.
if that happens, you heard it here first, right? So
To be fair,
anyone that fancies
yeah.
it, go to your local bookie and just say to them what price on the 20th of March. So it would have been my mum's birthday. It's always a date I
Fair
look
enough.
for anyway. It's always a date I look for. And then when I looked through the fixtures, I thought, yeah, we've got yeah. And I think any team want to win the league at home, and so yeah, 20th of March. That is the fixture I'm looking forward to. But obviously, along the way, Lewis away. Obviously, looking forward to that. Looking forward to going to Whitehawk again, Burgess Hill. Grounds that I've been to, years ago. Looking forward to a few of the new ones as well. The old Stanway Rovers and whatever. And we will at some point be trying to do a weekend away, and we're going to try and do a down the lane weekend away. But that is, I'm just trying to.
Long haul flight is over to Stanway Rovers.
Yeah, long haul flight to Lewis, but yeah, so no. But yeah, so that's the fixture that I'm looking forward to. Right.
There is a severe lack of before you move on, Bad. A severe lack of midweek games this year.
Yeah.
Like just because there's less teams in the league, isn't there? That's the first thing I noticed. Like, I think after
I've
is
got
it like
2 or 3.
October time, we haven't got a single. I think don't we've got a single away Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday night, whatever you want to call it.
No, we don't.
After October, which is crazy.
February is the next one.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously less, and obviously that there will be postponements because of like cups and the pitches aren't going to be great for some teams, are they? But
No.
yeah, that was stark for me, the lack of midweek games. But there was quite a lot last year. I feel like every week at one point, like February, we were playing on a Tuesday night. So yeah, maybe not a bad thing,
Well, we didn't win. We didn't win that much in February either.
or at all, mate, for that matter. So yeah, doesn't matter what month it was.
We haven't discussed this. Obviously, we've discussed the fact of Eastbourne going part time. But maybe this might have been part of the decision. The fact that because none of us realised that we wouldn't have as many midweek fixtures. Maybe this was we're not actually going to affect any of our training. We're still going to be training on Tuesday and Thursdays rather than playing games. Obviously there'll be cup replays, like you say, and stuff like that that'll fire into that. But yeah, it's good for me that we actually continue that the routine of the training Tuesday, Thursday, and then playing on a Saturday, and also when you've got a week in between, it's not, how many times did we hear this year? Oh, it's Tuesday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, and the players can't
injuries.
get over it. Well, now, we've got the chance for the injuries and that to be sorted. So, I mean, to me, I think, and especially with the side we've got, with the quality of the side we've got. I mean, obviously yesterday away at Dover was postponed because of the injuries, but we know by when Steve came on that he's still looking at getting another 4 or 5 bodies in the door. So obviously that we're still 4 or 5 short. So when if you've picked up a couple of injuries, but for me, I just think that our squad is a more experienced, older squad, or that's what it's. They're more age than they were last year, and giving them that week in between to where they've got the Tuesday, Thursday, they're going to be doing their own training at home, as Steve said again in the cast last week. So yeah, I mean I like the look of the fixtures, but obviously it's just a lack of and it's probably going to make it easier for us to do a podcast, right? Because we've got an extra day. We haven't got a Tuesday that nicks into a fixture.
We've got a great opportunity as well to make a statement start with the first 3 or 4, even the first month. Like if we can get some results against Aveley away, who will definitely be in the playoffs for me.
Yeah.
Three Bridges at home might look like an easy start on paper, but Three Bridges have just come up. Also just won the Senior Cup last season as well. That will be a tough test. They'll have momentum going into that league. Looking like Hornchurch. We played Hornchurch early a couple of seasons ago, and they gave us the right battle. Chesham last 2 seasons ago, they gave us a great test, even though they were newly promoted. And you're going to Brentwood at home, playoff finalists last season. So another tough test. And then away game against Cray. Leatherheads, again, promoted side, so we'll have a bit of momentum. And then Lewis away at Derby. So, in terms of the start, I know it's the Issue League, and I know we should feel ourselves as favourites for arguably every single one of those games. No, but that start is, if we can get four wins and a draw out of that, that's going to set a precedent down for the rest of the league that we're the team to beat. So that's quite important.
We have to attack this first month from the off
with intent.
And obviously, Liam Nash, new signing, used to play for Aveley, so hopefully he bags.
Bit of a derby for Liam Nash. Yeah, I think Liam Nash played a few different clubs, don't he, at this level.
Yeah.
But
Worthing.
Yeah,
it's all about the borough.
Yeah.
All about the borough.
All about the borough.
I think what when you look at some of the fixtures though, I mean, what stood out to me straight away, because I was like, you sort of scour through them quickly and whatever else, is by Halloween, by the end of October, we've actually played both games against Aveley and both against Three Bridges, I think it is.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
It's like, you normally expect it first half and second half of the season. So, I mean, I think that is what for me, the statement comes because we both just mentioned there that Three Bridges could be a bit of a dark horse. And remember, every single team that plays Eastbourne Borough this year, because of where we've been, we are going to be their cup final. Everyone's going to want to beat Eastbourne Borough, right? It makes our job harder. But I think if you've got teams that are coming to you and you're getting the results against them, then that maybe takes the confidence away from these clubs that are looking at, right, let's go there and beat them. If you see sides that you expect to give Borough a harder game, not give them a harder game. So I think, you look around the league and I rate, in fact, for the next podcast, what we need to do is we need to, all of us, make our predictions on a final league table, top to bottom.
Well,
and then we
agree.
can sit-
Wow.
Sorry. No, not agree.
Trouble is with that though, Baz, is that like it's a new league for us, isn't it? So I feel like National League South, I wasn't accurate. I'm not saying I was for any second, but I feel like I had a decent knowledge of every single squad and the managers. I have no idea about a lot of these teams, so I'm sort of just going off complete gut feeling from what I've seen.
As well. I don't know
historically.
many players.
No, it's a lot of learning this year.
A lot hard.
A lot of learning.
Well, that means you've got to do a bit of research, boys, doesn't it?
Oh, I haven't got time sometimes, mate. Got enough going on, mate. It's a commitment turning up these.
When you're sitting there in your office, Miles, you're hard done.
Oh, you think I've got spare time, do you? Oh, you got enough.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun in my job. I'm literally, trying to serve people. The next minute, I'm thinking about, where Welling are going to finish.
What, more than Tiptree did?
But yeah, so no, we do need to do more. I know,
Yeah, just for fun.
Earlier about doing more predictions this year. And what we're going to also do, guys, we are going to do when we start at the start of the season, we're going to get these in regular, and especially with the lack of midweek games, it's going to be easier just to do it one fixture at a time. So all you watchers that are still watching, because this has gone on this one today, we are going to be doing like a little prediction league. There will be a prize at the end of the season. I can't tell you exactly what that prize is going to be yet because I don't know.
Yeah, worked out yet. Yeah.
But the rules will be you have to like our video, you have to share it, you have to be a subscriber, and you have to put your prediction in, obviously, before kickoff and on match day scores. And then we will have a league table of who is up there and who's not. And I know where are we? Somewhere down there because I'm useless. Right, go on, Miles. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about now.
Pre-season so far. Only had 2 games. Should have had 3, which we'll get on to. But I went down to, I think I was, out of you 3 of the only person there. Was Cam, were you there? I didn't see you.
No, I wasn't there, unfortunately.
No, you weren't there. No. Yeah, it was classic pre-season really. We're obviously playing a team that are 2 levels below us, Eastbourne United. They looked to get about the pitch, looked to be a bit physical, put one on us. There was a bit of a controversial moment with Kai getting absolutely crunched. But generally, we showed our class. Looked like we were playing together, especially first half. We had a sort of main team, team you expect to be roughly what we put out against Aveley first game of the season. Yeah, we looked to play very, very well. One thing I quite liked was how dynamic the wingers were. Like Kai Colbert was absolutely electric. Was sending him to the shops left, right, and centre. McQueen looked direct. Play very well. And then I will wax lyrical about my brother, cousin. He's not related to me.
I've been
Josh
waiting for
Rees.
this all week.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this all
If
week.
you had a player called Simon Cullip, you'd be saying the same thing. So I've got to back my family. You know what I mean?
Stay humble, Miles. Stay humble.
It's not me. It's not me. It's not related to me. But yeah, Josh Rees was class. He creates those third man runs really nicely. Like for a guy who's getting towards the latter stage of his career. Great energy getting behind. I think that's going to be a theme. In throwing those sort of third man runs off the ball, and then looking to create for others. Yeah, played well. He's definitely stood out. And we look like just a bit of a meaner side in defence. Elliot Johnson looked like he's going to be a great little sort of terrier of a player. I didn't realise how short he was, so no offence if he's listening to this. But he's like a little stout little left back, and he was getting people's faces now, and I liked it. Yeah, shame with Eastbourne going off, one of our injuries that's sort of led to the cancellation of Dover. And then second half was sort of like a non-event, really. We had a few chances, particularly from Tyler Wilson, who's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm not going to take any credit for saying that he's going to play in the Football League, because literally everyone that watched him play can see that. He's absolutely dynamite. I'm not sure how teams are going to be able to contain him next season. I imagine he'll probably get a start. He'll force his way in the starting lineup somehow, because he was so quick on the ball. Decision making was good. I mean, other than the end product, which will come, you can't really fault him for an 18-year-old. And I think he scored, was it 13 goals in an under-18 game last season? I mean, I know it's under-18s, but you don't do that unless you're a special player. So he looks like a brilliant find. He was obviously Eastbourne United himself, so we didn't have to go very far to get him. But yeah, it looks like he's going to be the grout of next season, as it were, the breakout player. Yeah, terrific stuff. There wasn't any particular trials that massively impressed me. They all sort of solid. We had a little short lad came in for Eastman's. Looked like he was all right. I can't think of anything notable from him. The right back looked quite good, looked to get on. And we had a really tall left back, really tall left back, a guy with braids. He looked like to get sort of up and down quite quickly. Looks like a lot of energy, fairly good ball playing, but it's sort of hard to tell when you're playing against a team that's 2 leagues below you. And it was really hot as well, so the second half did sort of peter out a bit with that sort of lack of energy from the players. Also be the first game in pre-season 2. So that was Eastbourne United, sort of went as everyone thought it would do, comfortable 2-0 win. And then Haywards Heath, I believe no one went to, so we can't really comment that much, but we have another 2-0 win. With my brother cousin scoring, it's got to get that in there again, and then Darren McQueen as well, making it 2-0. So yeah, pretty comfortable. But unfortunately, a few injuries. So we've got Freddie's out, which is disappointing for Freddie because I know how many injuries he's had for us over the last 3 or 4 years now. He seems to never get any run of games yet, which is disappointing. A bit of a concern going into the season. I think we're quite light at centre back currently, so I'm sure that's an area that Steve will be looking to strengthen our depth in, because we are a bit light there. Of only sort of Phipps and I think Johnson can play there, but we're going to want to sign another centre back or 2. I feel. Shame Dover wasn't actually on because A, I was planning to go to it, and B, it would have been a good test playing against a team of a higher league. Even though I think Dover might go down this year, it's my prediction for National League South. Because they just lost Nick Ash to Dorking and then were 20th last season. And they seem like the sort of club that's always threatening relegation. And it's a strong league, that league this year, so I feel like Dover will go down. But it would have been a good test. But yeah, a bit concerning we've had to cancel. But I think we've got no midweek this week from what I understand, and it's Eastbourne Town on Saturday. So yeah, if those are going to start, we're looking forward to a little local derby.
Yeah, hopefully we can spend that week, get a few bodies in, hopefully. And yeah, hopefully there are none injuries long term.
Yeah, I'm hoping to possibly get down to town on Saturday. I don't normally do many pre-seasons because obviously it's wedding season for us, so it's busy work time. So it's kind of, it's a lot of time. Time to take off at the busy time of the day. Obviously, in our job, what you don't take out, you don't bring back. So, missing that one job in the afternoon can cost you money in the evening as well. So it does get quite expensive if I miss work. But I do think that this week I've got some jobs around, so I might be able to get down there. So I hope to. I mean, just want to see the guys really, and just see the other supporters. I'm missing them all, right? I mean, obviously it's been very football related with the World Cup and everything going on. Without seeing you guys and the other Borough family. So yeah, hopefully I'll get down there this week, down to town. So you go, Miles? I'll take it.
I'm not even here, mate. I'm away, so I won't be.
You're away, aren't you?
No, I'm not gonna be here. So yeah, no, I'm not gonna be doing any more pre-season. But I will be at Aveley. Luckily, I'm off. I just completely lucked out the Saturdays for August, so I'm off both the ways, which would be good. So looking forward to those. But no, pre-season's pretty much done for me now, which isn't a massive shame. I don't massively enjoy it. It's just something to do, really, isn't it? So yeah, looking forward to some real stuff at some point. But I need to recharge the batteries after watching the World Cup.
When do you go away on Saturday? Don't you?
No, not quite. No, mid this week. So yeah, mid this week. So yeah, no,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna miss pretty much everything now up until Aveley.
And we are going to try and get you. We are going to try and get a podcast. We did say, didn't we? If time, if we can slot in with the times over here, because
Yeah,
we'll be very busy in America.
We'll see.
If we can find a little short one, we might have Miles coming in from somewhere out in the States.
Yeah, with some absolute tin pot internet, probably.
Yeah. See
Yeah.
what we can do. Right, guys, this has gone on hour and 5 minutes, and we do say we try and keep it to 45 minutes. So, thanks for your for being here today. Hope you've enjoyed it, Jacob and Cam. And yeah, we will be back next week where we will talk about Eastbourne Town. We still need to talk about new signings if they're coming in and when they're coming in. And I'm sure there'll be more football related stuff to talk about. Anything you want us to talk about, you know we are. You've got us all on Facebook and whatever else, and phone numbers. Give us a shout. Let us know what you want to talk about. And like I said before, if you want to be a fan that comes on every now and again, then please do let us know. And if you also are looking forward to the Prediction League and seeing who is the ultimate Borough supporter predictor over the course of the season, it won't be me. Then let us know and get your intents in. So, guys, thanks for today. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy watching the World Cup final if you're going to tonight. I could not think of anything worse because I know we should have been there. So I will not be watching that tonight. I should have a nice chilled out night, early night, I think, and yeah, watch something else. But enjoy the final if you're watching it. I suppose really we should, before we go quickly, just predict the final score. I'll go first. I'll go Spain 2-1.
1-1 Argentina win on penalties.
3-2 Argentina.
Wow.
3-2 Spain.
Spain can you see 3 times? Bloody hell.
And
That's
you're going
bold,
3-2
that
Spain,
is.
Cam?
3-2 Spain.
So we got a 3-2 either way, a
Yep.
1-1 and Argentina on penalties, and a 2-1 Spain. Let us know your thoughts, obviously, before kick-off. Crack them in the comments below. And don't forget, like, share, subscribe. And we will see you all next week. Thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Up the Borough.
See you later.